Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Sexy Business Podcast. As always, I'm your lovely host, Lewd Neko, and joining me is Spooky Dangerous.
What's up, Toombs?
And today we have another really exciting interview as we get to interview two members of the team for Third Crisis Neon Knights. Say hello, Bear and Vils.
Hello,
Hi.
thank you for having us.
Now, before we get into things, could both of you sort of just give a brief pitch of what you do on this particular game?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just go first. So, hi, I'm Bear. I work on Third Crisis Neon Knights. Third Crisis Neon Knights is a loot narrative role-playing game where you play a female protagonist, and it's focused on corruption as the loot component. My role on the team is I am the Lootness creative director, as well as the tech lead together with Vils. I'm giving off to you, Vils.
Hi, I'm Vils. I do a lot of the back-end tech stuff of Third Crisis and the majority of the writing for the main story.
All right, awesome. Now, both me and Spooky did get a chance to play a bit of it. As of recording this, Third Crisis Neon Knights is not out yet, but I had a chance to at least play through the demo, which is available. And then Spooky, I think you got to play a little bit longer than that.
I got to double dip. So I played through the demo, and then our homies here was like, hey, did we give you a Steam key? I'm like, no. So then I got the Steam key, and then I played for an extra hour after the demo.
Hey, yeah, man. I'm sorry
Nice.
I didn't give you one earlier. I straight up forgot.
No, it's all good. And I think the demo does a really good job of giving a taste as to what kind of stuff to expect from the game. So if you're listening to this at home, it's definitely worth going and checking out the demo. But I'm really excited to see the release into, I believe it is early access on Steam. Because that's some of the content that I got to play through, and let me say, this game is spectacular.
Thanks.
You can see on the background that we've set up is actually a recorded clip of just our main character standing in one of the locations just out front of the glowing hole, a fantastic place that you may want to visit while you're playing the game. Just to give you an idea of what some of the character design and environment design does look like. But maybe I should just kind of dip into maybe my experience of playing through the first hour, and then I'll throw it back to you, Neko. But I'm such a task speedrunner when it comes to stuff like this, and I realize this game gives you a lot of opportunities to not go the path as prescribed or to go down a more corruption route or whatever. But I'm just such a good boy. I just keep doing what the game tells me to do.
Very good. We like that.
So I feel like the only time where I feel like I deviated from this is the last part that I played through before having to start preparing for the podcast was the nightmare sequence. And I got to the end of it, and it was like, you don't have enough skank, I think it is, to do this particular scene. I'm like, all right, fuck yes, I'm going back and I'm finding the rest of it, and I'm coming back and doing this.
Well worth it.
But yeah, pretty much every other time I'm like, okay, what is my job here? What am I going and doing? And not even like I'm speedrunning through the game, but I'm just like, what is the game trying to show me, kind of a thing. And I gotta say, it is very pretty. Pretty much everything is very smoothly animated. So whenever you're moving around, the main character has a lot of life to her, like her clothes and stuff move around. Her hair and stuff is like really moving around with her. I put the banana back on her head for a lot of the game when I realized you could do that. It's very cute.
Yep.
And so you're so it's a cyberpunk themed game, right? And I think it does a really, really good job of communicating the cyberpunk theme. You do a good job of showing that there's kind of the seedy underbelly of the city, which is just the whole city most of the time in a cyberpunk kind of dystopia. And you, the main character, as always, is someone here and they've got a job, and the job is kind of seedy, and it's a big payoff, and the risks are huge, and don't open the case. Why did you open the case? Kind of a thing. So it does a good job of, kind of really setting you up in the in this cyberpunk world, and then also introducing how these kind of corruption effects and stuff are going to happen, and how the main character is afflicted by a lot of these things. I also do like that you get your bestie. She comes around for a little while as well, and you go and get your nails did together. That was very cute. And
Yeah,
so
it's a crowd favorite.
yeah.
I love her.
I think the other thing worth really highlighting here is a lot of the minigame design is very, very cool. The lockpicking one took me a minute to figure out because there isn't a tutorial where it's like, "Hey, idiot, this is how you do it."
Right.
But on my second attempt, I think I had it pretty much figured out, right? So it's not like super complicated, but it was very cool. And then there's a scene in it where you have to unlock a case, or your friend's head is going to explode or some shit. And there's a timer on the screen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't fucking let her die. I am not gonna make this happen. I am just so stressed. But like the minigame itself is so simple, but the whole time I'm like, no, please.
It was so
Yep.
funny getting the right exact time for that because I think it was originally
Yeah.
like 3 or so minutes, and I was like, we need less time. I need you to be like 5 seconds left at the end was my goal.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. It's got to feel close, but not so easy to fail, right?
Exactly.
So it's definitely
That was the balance I was
fine
trying to ride
line.
with that one.
Yeah. And then there's the other thing that I really liked was there's a concept in the game called, I think it's the slut booth, which is basically a box that delivers a hoe to your door, but the main character
Yeah.
uses this to get around quite a bit.
Yeah.
And there's actually like a Tokyo Drift mini game where you drive the box around. That was fucking sick, but I'll tell you, I definitely did not get under par for that one. I got to the point where I was
you should
even
see our
bouncing off
leaderboard.
the guards and stuff, so I think it was pretty bad. I got
Our
like
leaderboard, I think, was like
145.
sub 1 minute. I think it's like 55
sub 1
seconds,
minute.
something like that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You gotta be a real gamer.
Absolutely. I gotta plug in the steering wheel for that one.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe the joystick.
Yeah, that's it. What about you, Neko? Any highlights?
Yeah, I only got to play the demo, which is like the first like 30-ish minutes or so of the game. But I have also played the previous game, just Third Crisis. I haven't completed it yet, but it's one of my games that I have like put on my list for like when I have time over the summer. I want to like sit down and properly enjoy this because I really liked that one. I
Yeah.
had a lot of fun with it. I love any game that lets me put a bitch in various outfits. I'm like every lewd
Fuck
game is
yeah.
secretly a dress-up game to me.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was really excited to see that this Nights was happening. And oh my gosh, I was immediately just so impressed by the upgrade and like the visuals. I mean, I really love
Mhm.
how like all of the character art looks, both like in world and then sort of like the portrait art. I loved the like inspect ability where like you can see the full
Mhm.
character art and she'll sort
Mhm.
of comment about them having big titties or things like that. It's all really fun.
Whatever you
And
do,
then
don't look
another
at the tip
thing,
twice.
yeah. Oh, I know, I did try that. Now I want to. And then similarly, like I do like the sort of like the choice system or like the bad ends you can optionally get. Because I did get the like the bad ending for the demo as well as the good ending because as soon as the gas started getting
Hmm.
released, I was like, I know this is a bad ending because it's
Oh,
taking me
yeah.
way too much time to avoid it.
Yep.
And so I'm gonna sit here and see what happens. And it was hot. And that was something I really liked with Third Crisis is like it has some bad endings that are actually like entire gameplay segments, like playable bad endings almost. And
Mhm.
those are always a lot of fun when it's not just like the instant loss sort of game over, but where there's like a sort of like stakes and emotionality to it. And
Yeah.
then I would say the last thing that I also really enjoyed that is a carryover, a thing that I really liked about Third Crisis is like it's a very LGBT, like very queer game. And you don't see that too often, where it's like, especially in the porn circa, it's like, things tend to stay very straight, or like straight plus lesbian, where it's like, oh, well, we don't want to make
Mhm.
the hyper straight like male audience uncomfortable by seeing a gay man, for instance. And then Third Crisis had like an entire subplot that involved two gay characters, and of course, like the main character is also bisexual. And so I really like that, like we're in this club that is like a pretty even split, if not like more femboys than there are women, in this sort of like bunny themed club. And then there was
Yeah.
this optional scene that I also got between one of the male bunnies and his client, and I was like, I was fujoing out. I was like hooting and hollering.
Uh,
Like if I wasn't already like into this series, like if I was just a random viewer, like that part of the demo would have been like, okay, yeah, instant purchase. So I
aw.
appreciate seeing that again.
Hell
It was
yeah.
exciting.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah.
But-
So fun fact, the glowing hole initially was supposed to be femboys only.
Just femboys.
Yeah.
And then I was like, guys, we should put some girls in here.
You know what would
like
make
we
this
were worried
gameplay
that
place
people-
better? Women.
Yeah, we were worried that people playing the demo would be like, wait, is this just a femboy game? Why is the protagonist female? Like, what's happening? And then we were like, okay, I guess it can't just be like the entire demo being like femboy content. So yeah, we made sure to like mix it up. But that's the reason why the scene at the end of the demo there, or like the regular end, not the bad end, is like a femboy scene. That's like that was the initial plan. But yeah, so the reason why we have so much LGBTQ in our game is not really because we aim to have LGBTQ specifically in the game. It's just that we decided that our game should be highlighting femininity. And to us, femininity includes things like femboys, it includes regular women, it includes futa, anything that is femininely representing or like showing. So that's why things are the way they are right now. It's
Yeah,
I
feel
really
it's a
like that
good time
approach from us.
Good time to talk about Max. So Max is the proprietor of the nail salon, and Max has dialogue where they're like, "Yeah, I can just pull my bits on and off." One of my clients wanted a really big titty, so I had to go and put it on. And then the main character is like, "Damn, that must hurt your back." And then Max is like, "No, I just take them off," and it gets annoying. And it's like, I know so many women that are like, "This is the fucking dream for me."
Yeah.
So I think
I
definitely...
I put that in the dialogue as well. I think Sarah says exactly that.
Yeah.
Because I know the struggles.
Yeah. I guess that's like one of the things we generally try to do. We don't try to just like hyper focus on like some sort of fetish or like some sort of lewd experience. We're more like, okay, what's the context? What's interesting here? Like, okay, there's like androids and there's like a focus on femininity. Like, what can we do with that? And then Max appears, and like that's how like that kind of came to be. It wasn't like the idea wasn't like, let's have an android with like a really big dick. It was like, okay, this android character in this crazy world that has like a lot of lewdness, what will they be like? What's the context? What's the character? What's the relationships? So that's kind of where we try to come from.
Well, I was super excited to explore like a more gender fluid character, but with the the more hyper fantasy elements that we have, like the fact that you can just stick a dick on or stick tits on, or just stick some pussy on or put big tits on, and like you could be as gender fluid as you wanted, and then they're a robot as well, right? So it's like, does gender even really matter? Like, it doesn't matter at all. So it's really cool to put this gender fluid character in who uses, they, them pronouns, or, whatever pronouns you want them to use. I thought it was really cool. It was really awesome making that character.
Yeah. I think Max really hits the line really well of like this. Is it a guy? Is it a girl? Like internally, every time we talk about Max, the they, them, he, she, it gets really like interesting.
You can just use whatever.
Yeah, and it's like we at the end we were like, just whatever, man. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Less.
And
the customer decides.
Yeah, the customer decides, right? Yeah.
My gender is determined by capitalism.
That's such a cyberpunk theme, right?
Yeah.
Like that's such a. I think we did. Not to suck my own dick here, but I think Max is a pretty cool character. Yeah. And you mentioned the inspect feature earlier. I'm also super happy with the inspect feature, and so the reason why that existed is our artist like put so much detail into the lower half of the body of the characters. Like they all have like fully painted feet and like shoes and like the pants and everything, but you can never see it in the dialogue because it's like waist up, right? And I was like, wait, I mean, like Lenchi, our lead artist, put so much love and effort into this, and you can never see it in game. This sucks. And then I was like, what if we just have like a thing we can like drag around the character, and then okay, maybe you can like click on things, and then suddenly we have like an inspection menu, and it was such a hit. And like everybody in the dev team was like, wait, this makes so much sense. This is so cool. And then what was also really cool is that we managed to really like involve it in the gameplay. So like you interact with these inspection points on the character. For example, you can like zoom in and click on the boobs, and then if you do it like the first time, they don't notice you, but then if you do it the second time, spoiler, some of them notice you looking at their boobs, and then that changes the narrative again, because now they're like, okay, you want to be lewd, okay, and then things can happen from there. And I really like that like interwovenness of like the narrative with what does the player do. Like if the player clicks on the boobs twice, that has like a meaning for the narrative, and I love doing that sort of stuff.
So I have a kind of a dark horse question, because we're talking about all the different types of characters and how they're expressed and shown to us. And this information is being presented to us by a bear and an otter, but I don't remember seeing any furry characters in this game. Is there furry content?
Yeah, so there's an advertisement in the residential district that advertises this and kind of shows off our idea we have for this. So there's androids in this world, right? And you can mod any body part you want. So of course there would be furry people who are like, hey, I want to be this kind of animal, and then they just swap out their arms and swap off their scalp and like whatever body parts they want, and they become what they want to be. That's kind of the direction that I would like to move things into. That's the direction that this advertisement is teasing. We have like a character concept even drawn by an artist for this, but we haven't been able to just do it yet because there's so much to do. But I would love to do it. I think in the cyberpunk theme and in like this lewd world, there's so much room for a narrative involving this.
Oh yeah,
we do have one for the hologram, the Pocket Pussy vendor. We have a furry hologram version. I don't know if we're showing it in the build yet, but it is there. Yeah.
All right, furry enjoyers, I have confirmed for you that there will be furry enjoyment in the game.
Yeah. And also, you mentioned the lockpicking minigame, and that there's no tutorial. So that's actually very intentional by us. We try to have as little tutorials in the game as possible, because our opinion is kind of like, if you need a tutorial for a gameplay feature in a game that you're probably playing one-handed for reasons, it's probably a good idea for the minigames to be self-explanatory, right? Because like you don't want to be like stopped and like read like 2 pages of like, okay, you have to do this and then that, and then if this red block's close, then like do this. We wanted to just be like, okay, the screen opens on a tablet and you like there's like little controls at the bottom and you just find out.
It was funny as well because we were just finished watching Project Melody live stream the game, and she had just spent like 50 minutes fucking gooning to the scene, and then she got to the part we had the lockpick to get into the suitcase room, and she was just like, "What the fuck is this?" And I was like, "Oh no, we need to make it simpler. We need to make it like 2 locks or something instead of 3." Because oh my god, she was struggling with it, but it was so funny to see. And like this is the considerations that we have to do versus like, normal games where you have to worry about, is your player cum drunk right now? Like, do you need to simplify a few things? Like,
So compared
that's
to
kind
Third
of
Crisis,
go ahead.
is there a combat system still in this game, or is this one more entirely based around like mini games and sort of these little quests?
Yeah,
No combat.
so in Third Crisis, one of the weak points of the game was the combat system. And I think there's a few reasons for that. So the first one is, if you have combat in a loot game, the instinct is, I want to lose to get to the sex, right? There's like some non-con elements in this and stuff. And it's like an interesting narrative because you don't even have to explain any story. There's combat, your character loses, the enemies loot. Like the narrative spins itself without saying a word. That's really cool. The part that I don't like is the gameplay fun is winning the combat, but the lootness is losing the combat. And those two are like, it just doesn't really work well. So that's one of the reasons why we decided to try to not have a combat system in Third Crisis Neonites. The other reason is that we feel like we just didn't execute that well on the tactics combat that we had in Third Crisis. And it was like, I think the reason we added it in the beginning was like, we felt, hey, this game needs some sort of combat. I don't know why we thought that, but it was just like ingrained in our brains. And then when we like after being done with that crisis, it was like why are we adding combat? Especially in this next game where like we're not really a fighter. Like Zoe isn't a fighter, the main character of the Crisis Neonites. So that's another reason why we decided to scrap it.
I think you bring up a good point.
Not a fighter.
Because I had a similar problem. Our game, Cufflinks in Cages, was designed in a way where you don't have a lot of control over what you're doing because you're a submissive and you have a key holder and she's telling you everything to do. But on top of this, you're in a workplace and she's your boss, right? So you just don't have control about what you're doing. You're kind of just doing what you're told because it's trying to create that domina fantasy. But then every player that plays this game goes, I have no agency about what I'm doing. I'm just lost and wandering through the game. And I'm like, but this was the experience I intended. Why are you hating this thing that you wanted? And it's kind of the same thing. It doesn't deliver on that kind of emotional experience that you're trying to create, because it's not a medium that works well in a video game for that same narrative purpose.
Yeah. I think it's a pretty cool way to frame like the relationship that the developer and the player has, you know, like with the your objectives, like do this, now do that, do that, do this. Just like what BioShock did, where you're like almost recontextualizing it in the world as like, hey, yeah, you are being told to do this and you must do this in lore. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you kindly jerk your dick for me?
Please. Another thing was like, okay, so we don't do combat in Third Crisis Neonites, but like, okay, then what? Like, how do we fill the gameplay? Are you literally just going to press WASD to walk around and press E to interact? Is that it? And then it was like, no, let's try mini games. And that's how we got initially to like, why is there like a Tokyo Drift mini game? Why is there a lockpicking mini game? Why is there a match 3 mini game? Why is there a fucking 3D suitcase that you need to like lockpick and crazily unlock in a 2D game? We're trying to like make the game interesting without having combat in it.
Can you tell that Bear is really proud of the 3D suitcase?
It was sick.
Honestly, 3D suitcase was awesome. I was like, is this Ace Attorney?
That was so much work, especially making it like kind of look like it's still in the same universe while being 3D.
Yeah.
That was so much
Bear and
work.
Lenchy did a ton of work, doing the draw overs to make it look like it was 2D and to fit the 2D style while still being 3D. It was pretty cool to see.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of work. And I'm so proud that we pulled it off. And the same, I think you got there, Spooky, like in the apartment, in the first floor, there's like these flowers that like float around. And they're like 3D as well. And that was like our second attempt at it. And they're like, the gameplay is like very interesting because the inward character, the overworld character can run around and interact with the 3D elements. And that was really cool too. So there was somebody on Patreon who asked us like, while we were working on it, like, guys, what are you doing? I thought you're working on a porn game. Why are you like 3D animating flowers in like an environment? Like, what are you doing? And that kind of stuck with me because like, well, I want to make a video game that's cool, and it's also supposed to have porn, but like I wanted to feel like a polished and like a quality work. I wanted to have a heart and soul, and I feel like things like this, like touches like the suitcase, touches like the 3D flowers, things like the environment art being really detailed. I think this is like what gives the game this feeling of like being in a live world, and I really want that.
We even lampshaded that with the dialogue. If you interact with the flowers, like if you walk back and forth a bunch with Sarah in your party, she'll say like, "Oh, why did they bother putting this?" And then Zoe's like, "Oh, because it's cool." And that was literally us. That was literally our response to that player. It's like, "Hey, it's cool."
Looks directly into camera. Please enjoy this piece of art I've created for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes, we should have. Yeah, I mean, the same for voice acting, right?
I think the voice acting is very good.
Crazy. Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Wait, Spooky, you liked it?
Yeah, I didn't. So, a running
Spooky's a
trend.
voice acting hater.
I'm a porn on mute kind of person. And this one, I obviously did not do that because it's for the podcast, and I want to have the true experience of it. But the voice acting was very, very good, and it made, especially the main character and so her friend, feel like a real person because it was delivered like really authentically, and it felt like it like kind of went along with what was going. Whereas a lot of the other time, it can really take me out. I think especially because you have a really good way of developing the setting. When people talk the way they do, it kind of fits and makes sense what's going on. Usually my main problem is, and you may catch this from my heavy Australian accent, is that when I'm listening to something and I hear someone with a really fuck-ass accent, it kind of takes me out with what's going on. But when you do it all on mute, they can have whatever accent. You don't have to think about it. It's not a thing that exists, right? Exactly. Where you get to match it to the setting and you get to make it, people feel like they are from this place, and it's a way of, that's like a lower case kind of version of immersion, really, where it feels appropriate to what's going on.
Yeah, the voice acting is so the lead character Zoe is voiced by Pixie Willow, and she is absolutely amazing. Pixie is just a fantastic person and an incredible voice actress. And on top of all of that, not only is she that, she also has a casting agency called Juicy Bee. And that casting agency is really the reason why we can have voice acting in the first place. So Pixie has like all the contacts into the industry of like incredibly talented and professional voice actors that are working in like AAA games and everything under a different name. And we get to like talk to all these crazy voice actors and have them in our game. And I think it really makes a difference. The professionalism that we have there, of course, it's expensive, but luckily we are, because of that crisis, in a position where we can afford this. And I think that really is one of the things that sets us apart from most adult games. Because we really put a lot of effort into this voice acting and the professionality of it and the post-processing of it and the writing, trying to make it like trying to write for something that you read and trying to write for somebody actually reading it out and recording it is actually different.
Yeah.
There's 100 little things that come into that. And I'm so proud of us that we actually pulled it off, because like in the beginning, it was like, we don't know what we're doing. And then over the past year and a half, 2 years, we slowly figured everything out. We have like a very extensive workflow in the engine where we can click an export button and it will export all the dialogues that don't have voice acting yet. And it will take a screenshot of every single dialogue line of the expression of the character that's speaking it and puts it into like an Excel sheet so that the voice actors can actually see a screenshot of the character while they're voicing it. And those kind of touches, I think, are the reason like why the voice acting works for us. And I'm so glad to hear that you, as somebody who prefers to have games on mute, you actually preferred the voice acting. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did also want to ask, because we are kind of getting to the back half of the episode, and you did kind of mention, gave me my little tie into how the business is going. Because you've had the success of the original Third Crisis game, as emblematic as Neko being a big fan, now I want to kind of talk about some of your release plans and marketing strategy and business stuff behind Neon Knights, because this is game 2, right? Or a major game 2, at least.
Technically game 3.
Okay.
So, Viz, feel free to interrupt me and take the wheel, by the way, but I'm just going to start.
Have fun.
Thanks. Third Crisis, we had no idea what we were doing. Third Crisis was like, hey, let's make a porn game, lol. And then it just kind of kept going. It just kept growing. And we had no strategy. We had no marketing. We just had this Patreon and people were crazy enough to give us money. Thank God. And thank them so much. But like we had no idea what we were doing. And then eventually like this whole marketing thing became more important. And by now we have one full-time position in the team, and our producer is also helping with marketing. And we have like a whole marketing strategy for Neon Knights, where we do like Steam posts, we do Twitter posts, we do Blue Sky posts, we do like events on our Discord with giveaways, we do like wish list milestones for key giveaways. So we ask people to, hey, take a screenshot and wish list the game, and then you can get into the giveaway for a key. We have streamers playing the game. Luckily, we're in that very fortunate position. And all these things are coming together, and we are seeing some very promising results. At the same time, you were mentioning, of course, earlier about censorship and stuff like that. So adult games are blocked in Germany, for example. And I know from numbers before Germany started blocking adult games in Germany, on Steam, I mean, is that 10% of our Third Crisis revenue from Steam used to come from Germany. And then when Germany blocked Steam, we just lost 10% of our income from Steam. And I mean, obviously, I can say our wishlist numbers because they're public on the Discord anyway. So we have around 50,000 wishlists right now for Neon Knights. And like, I know that 10% of that would have been more from Germany alone. And there's other countries where it's also banned, right? So like these censorships that are, of course, aimed at technically at protecting underage people. And of course, I'm for that. But we are at the other side of it, and we are definitely at harm from it.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing the same thing. In Australia, all porn has been blocked unless if you age verify on every platform for everything. Which has become its own nightmare for me, a person who's posting stuff and I can't even see my own posts when they come out. So I'm definitely feeling you on that one. And we've seen the same with the delisting and kind of how it eats into every margin. Are you then kind of splitting up what you're doing? Like, do you still have a big focus on itch.io, or are you very much relying on Patreon as like your main income earner?
Yeah. So you mentioned itch.io, of course. So itch.io is kind of like the way to get around that right now. And so what we are doing is we are bundling itch.io sales with a Steam key, right? So people from Germany, from other countries where it's banned, they can just buy it on itch.io. They get a Steam key along with it automatically, and then they can activate it on Steam, because the thing people want is to have the game on Steam.
Yeah.
Steam Cloud and all those features like that.
Yeah, exactly. The auto update
Yeah,
is a big
exactly.
deal.
Yeah. And you can your saves automatically and everything. We of course also have a Patreon. We have 2 Patreons. Luckily, we have 2 games that we're working on. The other one's Aerocamp's, like a 3D Unreal game.
Okay, yeah,
And these 2 are like the backbone. Like these Patreons are the backbone of our operations, because the Patreon income is very stable. It's very reliable. Every month is basically the same. If anything, it goes up. And that's something that you can plan with. Whereas Steam sales are much more fluctuating. Like the Steam sales are insane, but the sales you get outside of the Steam sales are much less. So like it's this thing that like goes up and goes down, goes up and goes down. It's a lot harder to calculate with that. Like if I say like, okay, next month we're 25 people by now on the team, and so like I have to pay 25 people. I need to know how much money is coming in month to month to month, and so Patreon is giving us the stability, and Steam is like a really nice bonus on top.
Yeah, we're exactly the same, pretty much. Where if Patreon topples, we kind of collapse. And so that's why we worry a lot about whatever Patreon's doing. We've seen like the new Subscribe Star TOS update, where Subscribe Star basically is just holding the ability to say goodbye to anyone, but then opened another option. I think it's a whole different website that is just for allowing adult stuff. So it's always a gamble. It's a very volatile career to be in when you're at the mercy of, you know, this scary unknown censorship hand or whatever. But you guys are doing very, very well despite this. 50,000 wish lists is a gigantic number. So I'm expecting that the release on Steam on April 2nd, I believe, is going to be huge. It's going to be. I'm very, very excited for it, and I think it will go very, very well.
Yeah, thank you. I'm incredibly anxious. This is by far the biggest thing we've ever done, and it's like so. Man, this puts the fear of God in you. Like, if anything goes wrong with this, like 2 years of work down the drain. Of course, we have a Patreon and everything. I'm exaggerating, but like it's like this thing that we've been working towards for so long now. And there have been roadblocks beyond roadblocks, man. Steam has like told us basically, yeah, no, you can't release Neon Knights on Steam in a support ticket when we asked for it, because there was like this whole debacle with like this like Australian women's right group. I forgot the name.
Collective Shout.
Yeah, we talked about that one.
The fuckers.
And then we were like, hey, Steam, so what's happening? Can we release this? And they were like, yeah, no, you can't. And we were like, but we already released Third Crisis. Everybody's happy. Nobody has any issues. Like, what is happening? They were like, yeah, sorry. And then somebody else asked a few months later, and they got the response from the Steam support that said, yeah, of course you can release on Steam. And then we were like, wait, what do you mean? You told us no. Why do you tell them yes? And then we asked again. They were like, yeah, of course you can release on Steam. So it was like this back and forth of like, what do we do? What do we do? We really want to be on Steam because Steam is like, by an order of 100 magnitudes, biggest platform in the world for adult games. So like not being on Steam is like such a insane thing. And they were telling us, yeah, you can't be here. And then they told others you can. And it was such a back and forth. And it was so like, it was nauseating because like there's so many people behind this at this point. Like, I'm letting my whole team down and stuff like that. It's really scary stuff. So I would argue that the adult niche of video games in general, it can be easier to get into than the regular indie side, but you do have all of these risks left and right and center, and you're being banned and you're being shamed into a corner, and it sucks.
Super volatile, like you said before,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we're suffering all the same stuff, and that's part of the reason why we tried to, create things like this podcast to help showcase the homies, help show that real people out here are gooning to this kind of shit, and we love it. And it's not weird. Yeah, that's it. It's not weird to beat your shit to weird anime games because 50,000 people are looking forward to doing it on April 2nd.
You're not alone.
Can you imagine
Yeah.
all 50,000 people in
I
one
know,
room at the same
right?
time?
That's so crazy.
Crazy.
50,000 people.
Absolutely
Is
insane.
Yeah, I
Put
don't
50,000 people into our room.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
like
Right, and imagine them
1,000
all
buckets
jerking
of
off.
cum. Yeah, exactly.
the sound in the room. Ooh.
Exactly. Just
The
the
smell.
echo alone. All right, now that we've absolutely lost all audience focus, Neko, do you want to hit us with the hard hitting closer question? We've been looking forward to this.
All right, Bear, Vils, who is your number one waifu and or husbando?
Okay, so for me, it's Magilu from Tales of Berseria, who's like a
Magic
mage.
Kazam!
Yeah, and she yells Magicazam when she does a spell. And every time we do a change in our editor, I coded it so that there's a 5% chance that Magilu will scream Magicazam at you. And I love it.
That's sick.
That's dedication.
Back in the original Third Crisis, it was 100% chance. So it's always a little
Yeah.
like, yay! For me, it's Ryuko from Kill la Kill.
Okay.
Classic.
Ooh.
Bless.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, now do you guys want to tell us where we can find Third Crisis and all of your various socials?
Absolutely. You can find Third Crisis on Steam, Third Crisis Neo Nights on Steam, into early access on April 2nd. You can find us on Twitter, or X, I guess, at Andrew Games Dev, not Andrew Games, Andrew Games Dev. And from there, you get to our link tree, and all of our socials are in there.
Make sure you wishlist it, please.
Yeah,
Please.
wishlist, please, wishlist.
Please.
All right. Well, thank you, Bear and Vils, for coming on the show. And everybody in the audience, go check out the demo. Give them a wish list. If you're watching this by the time it's out, just go buy Third Crisis or Third Crisis Neon Nights. They are incredible games. And it was really wonderful to get to have both of you.
Yeah, thank you for having us so much. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's great to be on.
All right, and it's time for my end of the show spiel. So you've watched another awesome interview and a string of really awesome interviews that we've been doing pretty much all month. And so if you aren't already subscribed, you should go ahead and hit that subscribe button and make sure you click the bell to get notifications, because otherwise you probably don't know that we are producing videos every single week. And as you saw here, we have lots of fun stuff that are coming up. So we'll have more interviews. We'll be talking about different games, controversies, fetishes, silly stuff, all of that jazz. And feel free to leave us a comment down below. So if you've played Third Crisis or Neon Nights, tell us what you think. We also appreciate suggestions. So let us know if you have any particular lewd games, devs, artists, or anything like that that you think would be good for the show. But that will be it for this episode of the Sexy Business Podcast. So thanks everybody for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.